Y'all, Wizard101 just put out a big announcement that we need to talk about. So today on Twitter, they put out the announcement that Wizard City and Krokotopia are free all the way through August 19th. So that's an entire week. So what does that mean? Even if you don't have membership, if you're a low level, you can quest through the first two worlds of Wizard101 completely free of charge. Now, I do feel like the timing is somewhat unexpected because this is something that they've done only 2 weeks after they gave everybody free membership for 5 days. So to me, it really does beg the question of why now? And I have a theory on this that I wanted to talk about for this video because I think that Krokotopia is about to get a massive update. I think the purpose of this free Wizard City and Krokotopia weekend is, yes, as always, probably to get more people playing the game, especially ones that are contemplating buying a membership. And they previously stated in the past times that they've done this, that the reason that they do these, free trial periods is to get data on how they could probably make the rest of the game free. Well, all of that is great. I would argue the biggest barrier to actually, getting people to sign on is the fact that when they play Wizard City, they see all of the new textures that they did all the way back in the summer of 2020. Right? Wizard City used to look like this, and then in the summer of 2020, they changed it. But I do think the big barrier now is for people that are trying out these free trial periods. They're seeing what they did to Wizard City. They're seeing that it's, not terrible. And then they go from a beautiful, modern, textured experience, and then they just go into Krokotopia, and then they see some nonsense. Right? The difference is really jarring, and I think that is one of the big reasons why, even with all these free trial periods, they probably don't have the numbers to justify making, for example, the first arc free. But I do think that's going to change because according to spoilers, this is a spoiler alert, very small spoiler, but basically, according to data mined files, the upcoming winter update, right? It's not raising up the level cap. It's not going to start a new arc. It's going to be, I guess, more of like a transition, to the next arc. A lot of people are speculating that it's actually going to happen in Krokotopia because of one leaked quest that's in some new area that we've never heard of in Krokotopia. And because they're able to put so much energy into Krokotopia, what it might also mean is that they might be able to finally put energy into retexturing the world. A few months ago, one of the devs that works on this game, Ratbeard, I wish I could find the quote. I looked through months of content, but this is confirmed. They went from a position of saying this is too big of a task to retexture this world to now they do have the tools possible to do it. That's a pretty big reversal considering it's been 4 years since they've done any sort of retexturing at all. And if they can do it to Krokotopia, I think they could actually really say that the first arc looks way better than it used to. Right? Like Marleybone, at least you could argue that it kind of actually looks pretty decent. And in my opinion, if they were to make a lot of the Marleybonian characters in Krokotopia look better, it would also probably carry over to Marleybone as well. So at the risk of speculating too much, what I do believe that the timing of this free, week of Krokotopia with Wizard City is right after they gave free membership to everyone is that they want more eyeballs on Krokotopia, right? One of the things about Wizard City is you have things like Aquila, you have things like the Catacombs, you have things like the big one, Darkmoor, and all of those big, end game things that you could do in that world makes it like a hub, and it creates a lot of that community building that you see, right? The Wizard City Commons always popping. I think they're trying to make Krokotopia into that as well by hopefully choosing Krokotopia as the next site of either a major side world, a side area, a big dungeon. And what they tend to do when they create a big update for high levels in a lower level area is like they did with the 4 dungeons update. They also add stuff for lower levels. And what I hope they really do end up adding for lower levels is maybe like a revamping of Krokotopia a little bit so it belongs in this decade. I think if that could happen, this would be one of the most W updates ever. Even if they just start the process, I think that would be a gigantic W because I think it is a monumental task probably to remake a world to especially you got to look at the skyboxes, all the textures, all the characters, the mob. But I think even a small change like that would make people that are only playing the game during times like this where this area is free or when they are given membership, I think what they'll see very explicitly is the fact that the game is actually putting in the effort of really giving you a honed product, right? Something that's up to date, something that's constantly evolving and getting better. Now, I do think one topic that always comes up, especially when people talk about how much they want worlds like Krokotopia, earlier worlds, to be retextured, is the idea of losing that nostalgia. And I think they did a really good job with classic mode, especially when they, made it so that Wizard City would look, just like it used to, especially if that's why you're playing Wizard101. I think that's a very valid reason to play. The nostalgia, reminds you of a simpler time. But even with this, you know, thing, we know that there's limitations to this, right? Like, the same time that they retextured all of Wizard City, they also remade the character, right? It used to look very, very crusty. It looks a lot better now. But for some people, they saw, you know, like the remaking of the wizard's face and the features and all of that, they saw it as a loss in some ways because they lost the nostalgia. What I do hope is that they don't even go overboard with it. I just hope that, you know, the sand, the water, the sky looks a little bit better. Obviously, the characters look a little bit better. But I don't know if y'all remember when they actually did like the revamping of Wizard City, they also did a lot of things to the quest line that I still think to this day are kind of unpopular. They shortened the absolute living daylights out of Triton Avenue, which happens to be the one street that you can play for free. Now, this is something that doesn't get talked about as much. They basically moved a lot of the time that you would spend on that street into the side quests where some of the lore is explained. There's a really cool Duncan Grimwater quest that I don't think anyone really does, but it actually makes them like come to terms with the fact that Malistaire is behind Lord Nightshade, you know, like, you know, taking over Wizard City. And while I appreciated that they took the opportunity when they redid Wizard City basically to make the first time user experience a little bit more streamlined, what I hope is that other than maybe reducing how tedious some of the quests in Krokotopia is, I hope they don't overdo it with this world specifically. I think it's a great example of what they do where they split a world into 3 parts and it doesn't feel like that, right? You're in a pyramid, you go on, you know, a boat, and then you go through a portal to get to the 3rd area, right? This world is pretty elite, so I hope that they don't really overdo it because I actually think this is one of my favorite worlds looking back, just questing, especially now that I've started a walkthrough. And I'm very struck by how something so simple can make me still have so much fun. I think some of the voice acting, some of the side quests, like, you know, like, I think a lot of it's really well done, and I hope that they realize that it doesn't need as much work as Wizard City needed. And for the most part, what most people really want is for the visual aesthetic to be different. It shouldn't lose, you know, that simplistic charm of what attracted everyone to the game to begin with. I think Krokotopia, for a lot of people, was the turning point that got them hooked. This could obviously be, like, you know, a purely speculative video, and I hope people don't, you know, get carried away saying I'm clickbaiting, but I do think so many of the signs, especially recently, have pointed towards big things happening in Krokotopia, and I think this free event, while yes, it's amazing for low levels, and I hope a bunch of us get to play, especially those who are trying out the game for the first time, that while that's amazing, I think this specific event is actually related to a bigger thing that's happening specifically in this world that we haven't seen in years. Let me know what you guys think of the idea of them expanding Krokotopia like they've done with older worlds, like obviously Wizard City and even Grizzleheim. And if we do get some sort of revamping of Krokotopia with this update that might add stuff for end game content in Krokotopia, what do y'all want to see, and what do y'all want to see them not change that much? Like, are there parts of Krokotopia that are special to you, that are nostalgic? Let me know. If all you got out of this video obviously is that there's a free week where you can do, like, you know, basically the game through level 20, then that's amazing. Please make sure y'all log on to the game so they know that these free periods are something that the players want. I think we should really, every time we get the opportunity, we should push the agenda on this, in my opinion. I look forward to reading all of y'all's comments and thoughts on all of this. As always, drop a like if you enjoyed, leave a sub if you're new, and if somebody hasn't told you you're awesome today, they doing something wrong. Stay awesome. See y'all soon. And yeah.